Garret Dutton, a.k.a. G.Love, welcome to Being, my brother. Good to see you, man.
Okay, good to see you, Mr. Cook.
Right on, dude. It's been a little while, but I count myself lucky to have hung out with you a couple times and performed with you a bunch of times, actually, here down in Costa Rica, which you're a regular. Didn't make it this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, I should thank you because you always save the gig because of your wealth of knowledge of so many hit songs. And actually, you've taught me some good ones for the Arsenal. I always love coming back to the Royals tune.
Yeah, right?
It's such a great one.
The Lord tune. Yeah, we rock it out in this kind of bluesy rock manner. Super fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. Well, I can say from personal experience, having hung out with you and performed with you, like you are a true artist, a great songwriter, fantastic performer. But even above and beyond that, you're just like an incredibly kind, down to earth, relatable, authentic human being, and just filled with positive energy. So it's just a dream to be around you and to know you. Yeah, man. Really appreciate it.
Well, but before we get going, can I just tell a quick story because you're in Costa Rica?
Totally, dude. Go nuts.
And this has to do with our last gig that we played there.
Okay.
And it probably won't have to do anything else with the rest of the podcast, but it's a story that has to be told because it's also a public apology before I can show face and no sorrow again. So
okay.
we had Rich had put together the show for us, like he does every year or did every year, and we were all jamming. We're jamming. It's getting late, and then Marihu comes on stage and she goes, "I gotta make an announcement. Tom, well, the owner of a white Toyota hatchback with this license plate, please move your car. You're blocking in 5 people." And then I'd say on the mic, "Well, the owner of a white Toyota hatchback with this license plate, please move your car. You're blocking people in." Okay, it's Patrick counting in the next tune. Let's go. So we jam another 15, 20 minutes, and then Marihu will come up. "Guys, someone's still blocking in. Someone's still blocking in. Make the announcement again." Marihu, "I don't know what the fuck I say. You say it." "All right. Well, the owner of the white Toyota." So this went on. So we ended up jamming till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I must have made the announcements 5 times, right?
Yeah.
And finally that's it. It's the end of the gig. It must be 2:30. We've hung out afterwards. The musicians said their goodbyes. Time to so I walk my gear out to the white Toyota hatchback rental car with the license plate. And all these people who were at the show are like, "It's this motherfucker. It's fucking G.Love has blocked us in all night long." I mean, I felt so bad. I was like, I had the key in my pocket the whole time.
Dude.
My only thing I could say is that they told me to park there. And I said at the beginning of the gig, "Are you sure you want me to park here? I'm blocking somebody in." They go, "No, just park there." So
Classic.
Public apology. I'm sorry, and whoever I blocked in that night, please forgive G.Love, the parking kook.
The parking kook. I love it. Oh man, what a great night. So many great nights with you in Costa Rica. Just an honor and a pleasure to jam with you, dude. We had so much fun. So I hope we get to do it again someday post COVID madness and all that shit. But much I want to ask you about, like, where are you at, man? Like, how are things going? I remember talking to you, used to do like 150 dates a year touring. So that's got to be a big change for you in the last year. How you been doing with that?
Man, it's been crazy. It's to me, it's just been like a time to be fluid and kind of try and figure out what the next pivot is going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to kind of sum that all up, my band, along with every other band in the land, across all the lands, went home from tour March 13th, 2020.
Yeah.
So I was on the plane home March 13th from Santa Barbara, and kind of panicked that first weekend, and then we just said, look, what can we do?
Yeah.
My son's stepfather, Will Daly, who's a musician, he started immediately doing like live streams and donating half of the live stream income to a local venue in Boston where he played. So he said,
cool.
why don't you do this nationally for all the venues that you play around the country and the world?
Yeah.
So we did that. We started that right away. So March, April, and May were like live streaming. Plus, I was doing lessons online, songwriting sessions online, and so I had about 8 to 12 students a week.
Cool.
Ranging from like 10-year-old kids to working Nashville musicians.
Wow.
Either writing songs or teaching harmonica or guitar. Just that was work. I told my wife, I'm like, I do not want to like, as much as the connection was great, meeting everybody and the connections I made with all those kids and adults, it was awesome. It was just like, I don't want to. That's not what I love teaching, but
yeah,
it's not what I want to. That's not what I really want to be doing. So anyhow, then springtime came, and we kind of pivoted into doing some social distance shows up here in New England. I'm on Cape Cod, playing the local brewery in town here. They have an outdoor space. So, and then starting to do house parties. So I got with the help of good people at Bose, I got a Bose PA, and then we bought a pre-owned Chevy Suburban to put all our rig in. And,
nice.
And so we were able to hit the road doing shows around New England. I put together a new band called G.Love the Juice, which was a bunch of other shipwrecked musicians up here in New England.
Cool.
Some members of Slightly Stupid. And then that took us through the summer and the fall. And then when it got cold, we went south, and we've done 2 tours now. One to Virginia and back, and one to Florida and back. Again, some social distance public shows and some social distance private shows. Now we're kind of like hunkering down, but we're still doing a limited amount of private shows. And the last thing I'll say is that it's like every new chapter presents new opportunities if you're willing to like invest in what you need to make it happen. Totally. And go out there and do it, and just try. Obviously we want what everybody else wants. We want to get back to work. We don't want to be part of the problem. So we've been really like, we really show up in a safe manner, and just try to be safe as possible. So
awesome, dude.
The musical community is shut down more than any other industry. Well, it's one of the biggest industry. I should say it's probably one of the last industries to go back to some normalcy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a tough year for sure for touring musicians and artists and of all ilks. So that's really cool that you've had a chance to pivot. I think it's been an opportunity for everybody to sort of reevaluate and sort of take stock. Whatever business you're in, whatever state of your life you're in, stage of your life, it's like, this is an opportunity. Okay, like what's really going on here? What's important to me? What isn't important? Where can I be more focused, more grounded? Where can I do some inner work? I think it's been a really great time for that for everybody. So it's really cool that to hear that you're sort of pivoting and reinventing, reevaluating, and coming to some solutions that feel good for you. Because you spent 25 years on the road, dude. Like you're a warrior.
28. But I was just looking at your microphone rig, which is the exact same rig as mine.
Yes, it is.
And so it's just an example of investing in the technology to be able to do what you're doing from home now.
Totally.
And also just showing the fact that we're here on a Zoom and the Zenster you're using for the audio, and that business is obviously doing well. And obviously this particular Shure SM7B has probably sold a lot of fucking units this year.
The guys at Shure have had a good year. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Oh, hilarious. Awesome,
I mean, not
dude.
so much the 58s,
Yeah.
but this thing, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
58 sales have crashed,
Yeah.
but you know, these things, fuck, everyone's got one.
For those not in the business, the 58 is like the gold standard for live vocals. So, and then the SM7B seems to be the new gold standard for podcasting. I don't know. Joe Rogan uses it, so I guess it's cool.
Sure, I'm sure.
But I'd love to hear, like, I'm really curious, you know, when I talk to guests about their trajectory, about their journey, about their childhood, and like how they came to be where they are now. So if you wouldn't mind, like, take us right back to the beginning. Like, were you supported in being creative as a kid? And then what was your first experience, first exposure to music? How did you get into it?
Wow, I mean, I will say that, you know, and it remains true to this day. Like my parents have been like my biggest supporters.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
It gave me the springboard just in life, and certainly like supported kind of probably against their better judgment. They kind of supported my dream of trying to of just, well, they supported my enthusiasm and love for music, and then kind of like they supported against their better judgment, like the dream and that I had, like that I was like, no, I'm not gonna follow like a regular path of like going to college or and
did you
finding
know
traditional work.
Did you know really early that, you know, music was it for you?
I did, Patrick. Like, well, at least I had that pipe dream, and I knew I didn't want to have a regular job.
Right? And that's highly motivating.
It is. Yeah, I mean, the story goes like this. I was a good kid, but I did cut school twice. Yeah. And at one time was to finish a history paper, and we got busted for that and got suspended. So I don't know what that about. So you cut school because you want to do your paper,
right?
But then you get suspended, so you get a free day off anyhow. Like, what is suspension when you're a kid? You're like, oh, I don't have to go to school today. This is fucking awesome. Like, my mom's pissed off, but so what? But the other time I cut school was to, I don't know, go on a little date with my girlfriend in sophomore year. I had my bag lunch from my mom, and you know, now that I'm adult, I'll admit my mother made my bag lunch till I graduated high school. I love you, Mom.
Oh, dude, that's commitment.
My turkey and cheese sandwich and my Doritos or whatever. And
do you have her
on the hill with my juice box?
You have her hauling gear for your first gigs too, man, or what?
My mom, nah, man, come on. But yeah, I was sitting on the hill with my little girlfriend, and I just remember saying, all I need is this bag lunch and my guitar.
That's it.
So that was kind of once I started writing songs, and like I had an urge to perform the songs in front of people and record the songs, and I never, and a really early influence, profound influence to this day, John Hammond.
Oh yeah,
the blues man. Like,
oh man,
he was accessible, and I got to see him play at some small venues. So in my mind, like, that was a music business that I could see that I could maybe achieve, making one record and touring, playing coffee houses. So that's what kind of the goal was, to make, because Bob Dylan and John Hammond, my two biggest influences, made their first records, both I think in 1962.
Yep.
And they both were 20. So I was like 17, and that was the goal. Like, okay, I have to make a record by the time I'm 20. That was the goal. So everything went into like, that was where I was trying to head. And
awesome.
I did get it, you know.
Unbelievable.
So it was unbelievable. I moved from Philadelphia to Boston to be a street musician, 1992, because that was, again, it was like the gig you could have that you didn't have to ask anybody.
Yeah.
Right. You could just go out on the street and start playing. And I knew from doing it in Philadelphia, I could make a little money.
Yeah.
So that was like a small crack in the door to the music business. And that by that next December of 92, I met my drummer, So the band was put together in January of '93. It was just a duo, Jeff, my drummer, and me, and then we got Jimmy Jazz on the bass. And then by 9 months later, or that October, we signed a deal with Epic Records.
Wow.
So basically 9 months later, and we had already completed half of the debut, like G.Love and Special Sauce record by then. So
wow.
pretty epic.
Wow. Yeah, you mentioned John Hammond. I got the honor and pleasure of seeing him in Toronto many years ago at a little place called Albert's Hall. Any Torontonians or Canadians listening might recognize it. It's above the Brunswick House in Toronto. Super small venue, and that just I'm getting chills remembering it right now. Dude.
Yeah.
What a powerful performer and writer, unbelievable. And I can see now, in your style, a lot of his influence as well, on like just that powerful bluesy harmonic, like soul that you bring to your performances. Like really, really cool, dude.
Yeah, if any listeners out there ever get a chance to see John Hammond coming through town, to me, like his solo acoustic performance, it obviously changed my whole life trajectory, and to see his performance, his foot stomping, the command over the guitar, vocals, and harmonica is like nothing else. And then as far as he's really like it's also a journey down like the history of the blues, because he plays so many renditions of these classic tunes.
Totally.
It's pretty important. And John's like I could talk for an hour just about John, but like John's like a really unsung hero of the music business, in the sense that like he introduced the band, for instance, Robbie Robertson, and they were called the Hawks.
Yeah,
they were John Hammond's band, right? And then John Hammond introduced them to Bob Dylan, because Bob and John were best friends.
Right.
John Hammond's father, John Henry Hammond, was the A&R guy who signed Bob Dylan.
No shit, I didn't know that.
To Columbia.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. Jimi Hendrix was a huge fan of John Hammond and played with John, and it was at a John Hammond gig that in the Village, where whoever was the English people that kind of got a hold of Jimmy and took him to England, and he came back a star. But it was at a John Hammond show where Jimmy was like discovered and contacted there.
Wow.
So a lot of big things in rock and roll kind of happened, through John Hammond. Although he the major success that some of those people I spoke about kind of eluded him.
Right.
In that way, he's remained accessible.
Yeah, totally. So you mentioned you were making that first record in '92, and did you like the classic G.Love and Special Sauce sound of like that sort of bluesy, groovy, white boy Philly rap like that? Just you came up with this beautiful melange of different styles and genres and made it your own. And like it's so iconic now. But in those first days, did you embody that? Like that just come to you naturally, or was it a conscious decision to go in that direction?
Yeah, no, it was actually, I had this lyric from the song called "Product of the City," and it goes, "It just really happened. No, it just kind of happened. It wasn't thought up. Right. This is the city, and I am the product."
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like kind of. It's interesting. Did you ever read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
So you know how like there's all these cool stories like why did Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, they were a couple years apart. They grew up 10 miles apart in this part of the Bay Area where Hewlett Packard was. So they were able to get Xerox machines or whatever out of the trash and start working and making computers, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing kind of happened in Philadelphia, like in and kind of around the country in the early 90s. So if you think about, like, I'm 48, so my generation kind of coming young teenage in the 80s, kind of being the first fans of hip hop, right? If the Beastie Boys are like a little older, and some of the rappers, LL or KRS One, are probably like early 50s, right? So we're like the kids that were right after them.
Yeah,
so
cool.
So we kind of grew up listening to that hip hop, and that was the music of our generation, right? And then just kind of, if you just speak, frankly, about hip hop as an art form, as a pure, like, it was an art form out of the Black community. Is the music was, it introduced a new instrument, the turntables,
totally.
right? And then had elements of like funk, which, was part of the Black. So any the Black music experience, right? So then, so the reason I bring it up was that, like, it was in that sense, when hip hop first came out, there wasn't really many white rappers, right? There was the Beastie Boys, and there was Third Base, right?
Yeah,
that was about it, right? So I found out about hip hop, and I loved it, but I never consider myself a rapper. But anyhow, I'm getting ahead of it. So, but long story short is, by the early '90s, I stumbled upon doing what I did just because I was a hip hop fan.
Yeah.
I also grew up in Center City, Philadelphia, so I was part of it was like everyone was breakdancing.
Yeah.
They're playing basketball, and then we went to graffiti writing and skateboarding. These are all kind of like street culture stuff, and so then I started rapping just lyrics for this Eric B. and Rakim song over a blues riff I was playing, and I was like, oh shit, that's
it.
Like, there's no one else that's doing that right now. Like, I it was an epiphany on the corner of Second and Lombard, and I was like, it's like the light shone down on me, and I realized, I was like, I must be the only, I don't know if I feel like I realized it very clearly, like, I'm the only person doing this right now.
Dude.
And meanwhile, across town, there was these two Black kids, Amir Thompson and Tariq Trotter, aka Black Thought and Questlove from the Roots.
Right.
They're same graduating class, 1991. They I think Tariq was from South Philly and Amir's from West Philly, but literally, like, Philly's small, so they're probably 20 blocks or a couple miles in either direction. They went to the Kappa Creative Performing Arts School, so they had a different approach, right? They were trying to make, with live instrumentation, trying to recreate this process hip hop sounds that they loved.
Yeah,
but again, no, it wasn't. Hip hop wasn't supposed to be a band,
right?
Right. So they came in through the back door. I snuck in through the back door, and then we started making our record. And the producer, Dave Johnson, said, "Guys, I'm going to take this demo out now. I got a meeting in LA next week with the record labels." Well, he came back. Well, how'd it go? Man, it didn't go well. Well, what the fuck? Well, there's another white guy rapping and playing guitar. What? What the fuck? What? Yes. Well, what's his name? I don't know. Some guy named Beck. You know what I mean? So, like, this. But again, this happened all at the same time, and it just, if you think back and relate to the Outliers, it was the time when that was that first wave of like appropriation of hip hop, which now is widespread across all genres of music, from country to bluegrass to reggae, and everything's so that's it.
Wow, man. Wow, what a trip. And so that first record, how did it do? And then was there any pressure from the label to sort of change your style or, go more mainstream? And, how did that develop over your career?
I think that's a good question, because for one thing, when we were signed in the early 90s, like from, probably 1990 to 2001, that was like the biggest, the record labels, right? ruled the world,
Yeah.
and the amount of money that they were generating and spending was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it was the climax of the music business before, and then Napster came along, and then everything crashed, right? So, but before then, it was like this shit was royals, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they had money and they were doing things, they'd sign people for a tax write-off, but they signed people as developing artists.
Yeah, right.
Well, what is the developing artist? Well, a developing artist means, hey, look, you don't have a hit right now, but you're doing something pretty interesting, and we hope and think you might get a hit one day.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, people that got signed in my class as, like, developing artists, like Dave Matthews,
Right.
Ben Harper, maybe Michael Franti. I'm talking about guys that are still around.
Yeah.
But that was like my class, and the Roots, like, so, you know, eventually we never really got a hit record. We have had a kind of enjoyed a successful long career, and heavily based on like live touring and live performance. But yeah, that was kind of the premise of us getting signed, and we were developing artists. So that's still developing.
Aren't we all? It's a lifelong pursuit, brother. It never ends. Yeah, but that's the beauty of it, I think, you know, like we were saying earlier, like this has been a chance to reflect and pivot and just to take stock and like, where have I not been paying attention, or where are some areas of my life that still need development, you know, outside of music or your talents. Like it's an opportunity to look at all angles. And you know, a lot of people are doing the work, and so it's amazing. So I want to ask you about your relationship with your own creativity. Like in the beginning, it's like this natural phenomenon, but you enter a record deal, and there's all sorts of external pressures. You're going on the road, you know, there's drugs, alcohol, and broads, you know, all sorts of distractions. How did you maintain your level of creativity, and what would you say is your current relationship with creativity? How has it changed over time?
Man, that's another great question. You know, songwriting was the catalyst, and still is the catalyst for everything.
Yeah.
As far as forward momentum and giving you like yourself a validation and a reason to show up on stage or to show up in the studio, but especially on stage, and to keep the old songs fresh.
Yeah.
You have to have the new shit that you're passionate about, that gives you that fire, right?
Yeah.
That gives you that euphoria and that purpose. So for me, it's always been songwriting, and that's been the catalyst for everything, for the urge to, like I said earlier, started writing songs, found an outlet for the expression, and that leads me to want to record them, and that leads me to want to share that on stage and make people happy. And then when I boil down what's my mission on stage every night, it's a little different, because that's not just about me, right? And my creativity, it's also about connecting and giving, trying to lift people up. So what's my mission is to make people happy and to inspire them, connect with them on stage every night. So how did it keep going all those years? Well, I mean, you know, like, I'm just a person, and I kind of grew up into my, you know, I grew up out on the road, you know?
Yeah.
So certainly plenty of distractions, plenty of times where I was kind of lost, or just always just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Made a ton of business mistakes, a ton of personal mistakes.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, you know, but again, like, just the one thing that always saved me was just being able to, like, when it's showtime, to really, night after night after night after night, find that inspiration and that joy, whether it's, you know, meeting you guys right for the first time and say, what are we going to play? And let's let it fly.
Yeah.
To you know, to any other performance I've done. So it's all about that, you know?
Yeah, man. I totally resonate with that, and it's such a gift that I'm so grateful for to have that, when I do step on stage and connect with an audience, it's another level, but there are some times where you're not feeling it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's happened to you many times. Like,
Oh,
so how do you sort of overcome those nights where, the band is off, you're not feeling it, whatever it is?
yeah, like, it just kinda comes back to it, I'm sure you know this feeling as anybody that's steps on stage, not even music related, like,
Yeah.
that you're lost,
Yeah.
right? And you're gonna try and find yourself, but
Yeah.
you're trying to do it in front of people,
Yeah. Right.
right?
And
So,
that can
or you're
be,
scared,
yeah,
you're vulnerable,
you're
you're opening
vulnerable.
yourself up,
Totally,
right?
man.
And that's like the after school. I call it the after school special thing. It's like some of the best nights are like that, where you're like, I don't have, I feel completely empty.
Yeah.
I feel completely scared. I don't want to play any of these songs that I have.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling anything. And then, but you're still gonna throw yourself into the fire, and and something comes out,
Yeah.
because it has to. So
Yeah.
so I think that's um and it's just kind of part of it is like, and it's like you gotta jump into it. You just gotta jump in.
Yeah. Totally. And like you said, you do end up summoning some strength, some courage from the depths of the well, and it just comes out.
Yeah.
And the thing that super helps is when there's an audience there that can sort of give you a lift, if they have some energy to give and you get sort of a little lifted from that, and then you start that, it creates a positive feedback loop, it's like
Yeah.
everybody's lifting together. But there's other nights where, you're feeling great and the audience isn't responding, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
and
you're
it
like,
goes,
damn,
damn,
you're not
man.
feeling this?
Right?
Look at me. Look how great I am. No, but I was gonna say, another thing that comes to mind is a comfort zone, right? Like, it's such an important thing to, like, continuously put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I just had the experience last week. I was like musical guest with Robert Randolph in Colorado, and this dude Nigel Hall kept calling all these these old soul tunes, and I had to all of a sudden learn all these cover tunes. And some of them, I'm not gonna lie, like some of them, I stepped off the stage because I said, "Look, if I don't feel like I can add anything,
Yeah.
I'm gonna step off and not ruin it."
Yeah.
But I did, did put again. It was. I'll tell you what, it never got comfortable all week for me, but just having that week of like being out of my comfort zone, it felt so great to just go play my acoustic show and be like, "Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing."
Yeah.
So
Right.
even if you don't have a break, even if you don't break through, you're always kind of, even if you don't have a breakthrough when you're out of your comfort zone, when you come back to your regular comfort zone,
Yeah.
you're gonna be really appreciative and see it in a
Totally.
new way. So
Totally.
that's another important part about music and just life. Like,
Yeah.
just, and think about how that relates to surfing. I mean,
Totally. And it relates to everything. Like you said, it's a good metaphor for life. Is like you need to, continually be challenging yourself outside of your comfort zone, because that's where the growth happens, right?
Does it get harder when you get older?
That's a good question. It depends. For surfing, definitely.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna start long.
Yeah.
How many times have you come out of of a session in the water and just said, "That's fuck this. I'm never surfing again."
Yeah, more times than I'd like to admit, for sure.
And like,
But surfing though, it's like, dude, it's how can you complain? Especially here where I live, and you know what it's like. It's like the water's so warm, it's beautiful, the sun is shining. Like you can have the worst fucking session ever, and it's still an amazing day. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you got to keep that sort of attitude of gratitude about it.
But
But
for sure.
But your question about going out of your comfort zone, I think it's something that has to become a tool. It has to become part of your routine. It's like if you start to feel too comfortable in anything at any time in your life, that's the time. It's like, okay, I gotta got to break out of this, because that, like I said, when you go outside of your comfort zone, there is that vulnerability, which prevents a lot of people from doing it because it's scary and it's uncomfortable. But that's where you learn about everything, about yourself, about life, So it's so important to continually do that, I think. And that kind of circles back to your songwriting. Like, I know from my perspective, I wrote jingles for advertising, and I would find myself, for like 20 years. That was my gig.
Really? Because it's so funny, because that opportunity presented itself almost when I first moved to Boston as a street musician. A guy I met at an open mic night did that, and I was like, I always thought about like a lot of songwriting as jingles.
Yeah. Totally.
So did you make any famous ones?
Yeah, well, famous is a relative term. I made money.
Well, have I heard any of them?
Yeah, probably, but I couldn't sort of rhyme it off, and you would remember what it is.
The heartbeat of America.
Yeah, nothing like that. But I got one I got a Bud Light on the Super Bowl, and I got
way.
Yeah, totally, dude. Like that was the sort of peak of my career.
That's amazing.
The funny thing about the interesting thing about jingles is, like, when you talk about songwriting and the traditional sort of pop songs, like 3 minutes, right? You got to tell the story in 3 minutes. With jingle writing, you got to tell the whole story in 30 seconds. Right. So it really hones in your ability to tell that story. Like, there's no messing around.
How did you get into that?
So I was a musician, in my teens, playing in bands and shit, and then out of university, there was so much work in the film business in Toronto, where I grew up, that everybody was in the film business. So I was on set, in the art department for shooting commercials in Toronto for years. I'm like, wait a minute, who's making the music for these things, Okay. And this is like in 99, 2000, like right when the technology, like Pro Tools, was just becoming affordable. So I'm like, holy shit, I could actually start recording without 150 grand for a studio. Yeah, I can do it with 10 grand,
Wow.
And so it's just sort of that confluence, like Outliers, like it was just that timing was perfect, where I was at the developing and the technology price was coming down. So it's just, wow, it was so lucky. And I had a great career. But what I was going to say is that I found myself later in my career falling into traps of comfort zones. I was burnt out, yes, and kind of bored with it, but just doing the same thing over and over. And I was like, I wasn't growing is part of the reason I got out of it, So I was going to ask you, like, how do you keep it fresh? Like, your creative process, your approach to songwriting, has it changed, or is there some routine that you go through to get into the flow?
Yeah, I mean, this might sound a little weird, and I don't know if if I'm on the right path or not, but it's just I don't write unless like I don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm gonna write a song.
Right.
I have my phone, and if something wakes me up in the morning, I will sing it into my phone.
Right.
And there's hundreds of ideas, and I'll write it down.
Right.
But then I'm gonna wait now till I'm kind of ready. I'm also saying this, like, in a point where I just dropped my new record, which is Grammy nominated. For the first time, I got my Grammy nomination.
No shit, really?
Yeah, this past February, my new record, G.Love the Juice, got nominated for Best Contemporary Blues Album.
Holy shit, congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's epic.
So that writing process was like, Kebmo produced the record, and we wrote the record together, and that was like such a cool experience of songs that, like, I wrote in my traditional way of, like, really like sitting down and writing a song, and then also writing in collaboration with someone on the spot, going for it.
Like in the studio?
Yeah, like in the studio.
Wow.
Like putting up a beat.
Cool.
All right, now play something on the guitar.
Right.
Okay. Record it. Okay. So what are we doing here? And then the ideas just start flowing. Right.
Wow. Epic.
But like now, and this year's just been a weird year because, like I said earlier, like I was doing a lot of songwriting. I'm just gonna show you the book. I was doing a lot of songwriting sessions. Like, people were, my two guys I wrote with a lot was a 13-year-old kid from Philly named Noah Gibney, and 30-something year old kid from Philly who is a professional musician in Nashville. And so, like, dude, I filled this whole book this year writing songs
Wow.
with my students.
Epic.
So I've written quite a lot of songs, including one I did. I hadn't done a session for a while. I did one with my drummer last night, who had a thing called "A Mississippi Man Drowned." So I've done a lot of writing this year.
Yeah.
But at the same, and it's all, and a lot of it is, it really is me. A lot of the writing, but it just. I guess I'm just kind of rambling because I don't really have a good answer, but how do I stay creative and fresh?
Yeah.
Is to kind of like, I don't force myself to do it, and I'm only going to write from a pure place of inspiration when like I feel like it's time to write a song for the right reason.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I got a lot of records out now, and the hardest thing for me to do right now every night is to pick out which fucking songs to play and not play. And it's like a big thing because I want to play like 50 tunes, but I can only play, in a show before people start leaving. You can only play like 10 to 20 songs, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really tough thing.
For sure.
It's a frustrating thing. It's a frustrating thing to like not play songs for a long time. So it's a tough thing because I do think I've always said like songs are like your kids. Like some of them go on to have great success, and some of them are fucked up. You know what I mean? Some of them you don't want to hear about it, and some of them are superheroes. So, but you love them all, right?
Yes.
At least you love them all for that moment that you wrote them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not the most perfect metaphor, but somewhere in there. So long story short is, I'm just playing, I play a lot of shows. So like, I feel like, and even during this time, like doing the fucking Zooms and the fucking lessons and then the live streams and then doing live shows, it's like, I'm kind of fulfilled. And now I'm also a different age, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm a family guy now. I got an older son. I got 2 little kids, and Kelsey's pregnant again.
Holy shit, dude. Congratulations.
Thank
wow,
you.
it's been a big year in the G.Love house.
Yeah, it's been a big year. But I don't. So the point is that I'm just being honest. I don't practice my guitar.
Yeah.
I don't practice the harmonica.
Yeah.
I play fucking shows.
Right.
I'm not just gonna. I don't have the time now like I did when I was 25 and single.
Yeah.
To write, to just kind of like sit with my guitar for the 3 to 8 hours a day is going to take you to like really write songs. So I'm either like playing gigs, and now I'm packing my shit and unpacking my shit because there's nobody around.
Yeah.
Or I'm like hanging with my family. And now with the pandemic, we've got 10 chickens, 1 rooster, 3 goats, 2 dogs. I got so much shit running around here, Patrick. I gotta fucking like take care of everything. So
that's awesome.
I'm like feeding the fucking goats and like milking the fucking goat. I'm like, I'm supposed to be practicing my fucking guitar.
Papa G taking care of business.
Dude,
that's awesome.
I don't even know what to say. Like I feel like I should practice more. I should shed more. But luckily I shedded a lot for a lot of years. So
for sure.
I don't know what to say.
Well, here's a B part to that question then. So one of the questions I love to ask artists on the show is like, where does creativity come from? Like you said, you only write when you're inspired. And there's this anecdote that I like to recite, whether it's true or not, of John Prine, rolling down the highway in LA one day, and he gets this hit of inspiration from on high, like a song wants to come through. He's like, can't you see him fucking driving here, dude? Like, I can't write a song right now. It's like, go bother Leonard Cohen, And this has definitely happened to me before.
Did he say that?
I can't remember where I heard that. But it sounds like a John Prine anecdote. But it's happened to me before where it's like, a song sort of appears in the ether fully formed, and it's just my job to be the channel and get it onto paper, right? So... But there's other times where I'm, I got no ideas. I'm going to write a song, and I sit down and it comes a little more forcefully, but it does come, you know?
Yeah.
So my question is, where does creativity come from? Is it something that you create internally, or is it something external that flows through you? Maybe it's a combination. What do you think?
Right. Like, okay. So again, like another quote was like Keith Richards said it really well in his book, which is a must read for any
Oh, it's epic. His autobiography?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So like he was just like, you have to be open. You're like a sponge, and you're just like kind of it's channeling through you, right? Like life, and you have to be ready to catch those moments, right, when they come, with the necessary tools, whether it's paper or your fucking recording or whatever it's going to be. You can't miss those, because they just like and the songs that you dream, and stuff. But and kind of coming back to my point of not doing too much musical work right now when I'm not on the stage, and this is maybe a detriment, is the fact that it does require that work. It's like if you compare it to the martial arts, right? It's power and repetition, right?
Yeah.
So you do these katas over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and you do that so that it's like, all right, let's be fun. Let's take it back to the Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off, right? But then, why am I fucking doing this over and over and over again? Well, paint the fucking fence. All right. Well, I'm not fucking doing this there. No, you're going to fucking keep painting the fence. All right, now look, someone punch you. Oh, paint the fence. Okay, right? So it's like, so you do the power repetition so that those moments do come.
Exactly.
Which is like those songs just coming out like thin air. And the thing is that the best songs are the ones that come the easiest. That you just literally like, because it only takes that sticky thing, and you need to find that, and to your point, like you're going to sit down and write a song, but you're going to kind of force it. You have to go through those times as a songwriter to like bang your head against the wall trying to write a shitty song, and not being willing to just say, oh, you know what, fuck this shitty song. This is everything about it is forced and it sucks. But I'm still gonna finish it. And then you were right. It sucks and it's forced. But that banging your head against the wall got something loose up there, so that other great song just spilled right out.
Exactly. There's a metaphor. I think Ed Sheeran said, you got to turn on the tap and let, when you first turn on the tap, there's like this dark brown water that comes out. You got to let it flow until you get to the clear water, the real goods. And that's exactly what you're describing. You got to let those shitty songs come out to make room for the great ones. But when you do get that hit, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, another great thing to do is to write with other people. Even though I've struggled with this too, because like songwriting to me, especially like for the first 20 years of writing songs, like really a solo endeavor. Like
me too.
Locking yourself alone. Really getting in touch with what you're trying to say. And writing in collaboration is a lot different. It's like a lot lighter. It's quicker. A guy that I wrote with a lot over the years is a guy, a wonderful producer and artist, Cisco Adler.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know him.
And he's so cool to work with. He's like just vibes so hard. And one thing I like about working with him, if we ever get caught up, and it could be on a line, a word, or even just a whole song, just like once he senses that creative spark has kind of diminished or completely gone away, it's like, shut it down.
Move on.
Let's move on.
Right.
Yeah.
To another part of the song, or another song altogether?
Either. Both.
Yeah.
Just like, don't get caught up. Just like keep it flowing. So back to that point of like banging your head against the wall. I don't do that shit anymore.
So, you
know what I mean?
You've done it enough already.
If it's not happening,
just
move on.
Don't
get caught up.
Totally. So, dude, in your 28 years of being on the road, you must have seen a lot of shit and learned a lot of lessons and met a lot of people, So, like, what are some of the biggest life lessons you've learned on the road, and from whom?
Oh, man. I mean, the thing that pops into my mind is like, it's just, you have to, and surely you can relate, like kind of just from an outsider seeing a journey you've been on the past couple of years,
Yeah.
with mindfulness and sobriety, right?
Yeah, totally.
Just kind of like uh, s- finding a routine, right?
Yeah.
Keeping your health up, like
Yeah.
getting like to be on the road so consistently, like your health is everything, right?
Totally.
So what do you need to do to show up every day? And so like if we were touring, like my regular day would be like, I try to sleep because my job is late at night.
Yeah.
I try to sleep as much as I can. So I don't try and wake up early. I try to
Yeah.
sleep as late as I can, stay in my bunk. I gotta rest my voice.
Right.
The voice is everything. Okay, so gotta make sure the vocals rested. Get up, have like my morning, whatever. Actually, I have like subscribe to like Tim Ferriss's like the 4 hour body, like so trying to
Yeah.
have like 30 grams of protein. So I generally do that with like protein powder and also powdered like greens. That's my
Cool.
base, because I can have that home and I can have that in a hotel, and I
Yeah.
can always have that. I'm gonna worry about breakfast
Yeah.
because it's 2 scoops
Yeah.
every fucking day. All right, so 2 scoops, 30 grams of protein, and all the greens, that a person would need for like a whole day. Even though I love to
Nice.
eat greens
Yeah.
anyhow, but and then I like to hit the gym or get some kind of exercise. Take care of my business, and then it's sound check,
Yeah.
followed by like a main meal of
Yeah.
like real food, and try and make it as healthy as possible. And then a nap, and then I wake up. I do a meditation.
Nice.
I generally use like I use this app called Headspace,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I'm
that's
sure a
great.
lot of people use this year, which to
Totally.
me really like has changed my life.
Awesome.
And then I do a vocal warm up with my vocal coach. Like I was either on Zoom or on a telephone. So I was actually my old vocal coach passed away
Oh, man.
right before COVID hit. She was an older woman, and her name was Donna Newman, and we would talk every day on the phone. So it was really sad, but I got a new teacher since then, and her name is Amanda Flynn.
Okay.
The only reason I bring it up is because she's like, have you ever heard of this app called Zoom? I want you to download this app because that's a platform I use to teach. So I was like using Zoom for a month before the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, I already had the app, motherfucker. I was like, I'm ready to go. Zoom. Oh fuck, you should have brought stock. But yeah. So do a vocal warm up, and then then it's go out,
Showtime.
I make my set list. And then it's showtime.
And your set lists are like a piece of art too, right? I've seen a bunch of your set lists. Like you do it with meaning. You put your heart into that shit.
Yeah, like it's funny because my set lists are like my hand drawn set list.
Yeah.
They technically are art, I guess you could say, because I sell them.
There you go.
And I've sold hundreds of them. But it was like that's not why I made them at first.
Yeah.
I used to write graffiti, so I like to like scribble and scrabble, and I'd always make my set list, which I never would follow anyhow, but I'd make it, and then I said, it is pretty cool looking. Let me and then Instagram came out, so I started taking pictures. So if you go to hashtag G.Love set list, there's I've posted over like 600
nice
hand drawn set lists up there. So
awesome.
But that's part of my routine, again, to like center myself.
Yeah.
Before hitting the stage. So yeah, those are some of the things.
Awesome, dude. I love all of that. So you mentioned meditation and Headspace. Like what has meditation, how has it benefited you? Like if somebody else that maybe a musician or anybody really, like I'm a big meditation fan. It's changed my life as well. So I'm just interested in what your experience has been like with it.
Yeah, I had a terrible breakup and just a terrible relationship. Although I didn't realize it was terrible. I just was constantly heartbroken and jealous, and wondering why things weren't going well.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this now?
Sure, brother.
But it really spun me out, like, and I'm sure a lot of people out there have had times, nothing can spin you out of your life like a terrible relationship, whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
So, and on again, off again, breakup type of shit. So I was really spun out and in a really bad place for some number of years, trying to make this thing work. Well, finally it didn't work, and my wife Kelsey, she got pregnant, and we had our first son Lewis, and it was around that time that and I was still spun out, just honestly. And I hope she doesn't listen to this, and she won't. But she I was spun out, but I did again, like coming back to that Tim Ferriss podcast.
Yeah.
He always has like interesting sponsors, and Headspace is one of the sponsors. So there was a thing that they said 10 for 10. So you use the app, you could do 10 meditations for 10 minutes a day for 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
And see how you feel. So I said, I feel like shit up here and in here. And I got this beautiful baby and a beautiful woman that loves me, and I can't see past this other shit. So I did the 10 for 10 day meditation challenge, and it fucking, like, I felt like I really snapped out of that. And I was like, literally, like, it helped me to find something, some peace and clarity, and yeah. So I kept doing it, and then I used it. Mostly for show days, because again, like I'm kind of a nervous person, and getting on stage required a bit of stage fright, and I want to kind of find something to. I found that meditation before a show like helps me to, again, center, find more space,
totally,
which we need in music to like let things unfold, and
it quiets the noise of your mind, where you can tap into that essence of creativity and like where the shit you really want to deliver and create from and express from, rather than creating from the noise or the, the fear or the whatever is going on in your head. Yeah. Beautiful, dude. Wow. Amazing. G.Love, this has just been so good to connect with you again, brother. I miss you, man.
I miss you too, man. I miss our annual gig.
I know, right? Hopefully that's going to happen again real soon. Last time I saw you, I remember in Denver. I think it was July 2019. You were playing a gig there, and you debuted the Juice, like the single, as the encore, and you played it acoustically, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, that's a great song. It's a hit." And now you got a Grammy nomination. That's epic, man.
Thank you.
Epic.
Yeah.
Do you feel like playing a song right now? Would you be up for it?
Sure, I can.
That would be it.
I'll play the Juice. I was just going to say, just back to this power of songs.
Yeah.
Because I meant to say this earlier, was like, or something that we were talking about was, like the new, that's what it was, like the new material. Like for me, even though this song, The Juice, now I've been working on it since 2016, and it is released now. But to me, this song is like everything about the reason that I'm able to get on stage and play all the other tunes. I often have felt in the past couple of years like I'm playing all those other songs so that I can play this one.
Wow, cool.
And that's the power of like new material.
Yeah.
When you really feel like connected, and it's something that you're saying that you just wrote that you care about right now.
Yeah.
So
epic.
Let me just get. You're just gonna have to give me a sec.
For sure, bro.
Shit.
Yeah. Okay.
You caught me off guard. I wasn't expected to play, but you're gonna say you play a song. What am I gonna say? Nah, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. This is gonna be epic. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we got a Grammy nomination, but the Grammys got pushed back to March, so I won't find out whether I win.
Oh shit, man!
It's just the hugest honor of my life to be considered, and actually, like, just speaking on anything, like, again, like, just we're talking about like a lot of like stuff in life, like manifesting and
Yeah,
purpose and everything. Like, that was when I sat down with Kebmo on our first day in the studio. Before he started working, he's like, "Gee, what do you want to do here?"
yeah.
And I was like, "I want to get a Grammy."
Seriously?
Yeah, and Keb's won 5 Grammys.
Holy shit!
That was part of like talking about like going with a coach, like a mentor who's been through the process, who has achieved multiple times that success. Now look, man, you don't need a Grammy to most musicians are not going to get a Grammy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the best musicians in the world and the best records that we all know and love in the world never got Grammys or anything. So it doesn't say everything about anything. But if you do want to get a Grammy, you should work with someone that's got a Grammy before, or I guess that's the point. It's like
knows what it takes.
Against processes.
And then setting the intention, like you said about manifestation, like you're announcing to the universe, this is my intention with this record, so that energy gets infused into the process.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Fucking A. You're gonna win that shit.
I'm gonna win that shit.
I'm gonna win that shit.
All right, so here's the juice.
Nice, brother. Woo! G.Love, ladies and gentlemen, the juice.
I'm gonna take my headphones off.
Okay.
Oh. All that lead up, man. I'm still out of tune. And I'm being attacked by Blueberry. Ready, Blueberry? Here we go. No more lies about that. No, hold on a second. And you still can fuck shit up even though you're Grammy nominated. Patrick, I say jam along, but there's that slight delay.
I know, it's the latency, dude. Can't do it.
No more lies about this, no more lies about that. No more ace if you sleep, just lay your cards flat. See how feet set it rough when the struggle is tough. Bad news on the news every day, it's enough. It's enough to make good people turn around and leave. Or how about we march in the street, cause we're free, raise our fists in the air. Cause we do care, you say who cares? We do. We got the juice.
Got the juice.
We got the love. We got the dreams. We won't give up.
We won't give up.
We are the change.
We are the change.
We had enough.
We had enough.
We got the juice.
We got the juice.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Divided you fall, united we rise. Up in order to see through all these tears in our eyes. And why do we cry? Teardrops stay stained. Like Cat Stevens, we ride the peace train. Oh, let us be real. You must be insane in your brain. Something's wrong, man. You cannot remain. We need positive change. We will not regress. Power to the peaceful. We must progress. We got the juice.
We got the juice.
We got the love.
We got the love.
We got the dreams.
Got the dream.
We won't give up.
We won't give up.
We are the change.
We are the change.
We had enough.
We had enough.
We got the juice.
We got the juice.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Let's get loose, baby. Woo. Let's get lifted. Something's going on now and you sure don't want to miss it, no. And you can feel it in the streets, from your toes to your feet, from sea to shining sea. Hit them with a blues power beat. gotta sign a petition. You got to get out and vote. Don't stand down. Stand up. And look here, this is a letter, but also a song. And if something ain't right, then it must be dead wrong for the birds and the bees and the ocean and the trees and every single person's sanity. Humanity is all of us, all colors and all kinds. Now we want world peace and just a little peace of mind. We don't need no more wars. We don't need no more guns. We need a better world now for our daughters and sons. Go get it. Let's go. We got the juice.
We got the juice.
We got the love.
We got the love.
We got the dreams.
We got the dreams.
We won't give up.
We won't give up.
We are the change.
We are the change.
We had enough.
We had enough.
We got the juice.
We got the juice.
Time's up.
Time's up. Time's up. Woo! Yes, baby. Garret Dutton, a.k.a. G.Love. Thank you so much, brother. It's been such a pleasure. Grammy-nominated album, The Juice. Baby on the way. Man, it's good to see you and hear you thriving during some challenging times, man. Thank you so much for your time today.
You too, Patrick. It's great to see you. And, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, brother. This is amazing. Let's keep in touch. Yeah, I want to keep this going. Keep the fire going. And yeah, all the best, man. All the best.
Right on, man.
All right, man. We'll talk to you real soon.
Okay. Thanks again.
Peace, brother.
See you.
Ciao.
Thanks.